What's going on, guys? Gino checking back here for another video today, and in this video we're going to be talking about chest. Chest is one of the most frequently trained muscles because, you know, everyone who starts going to the gym is starting on chest day, Monday chest day. And even though it's the most frequent muscle to train, there are still a lot of people who have troubles developing their chest or feeling their chest activate during all these pressing movements. Now, me personally, I was always someone to have a really lagging chest. And I'll put some pictures on the screen right now to see, you know, after 1 year of lifting, how lagging my chest actually was, which was, you know, basically just crap. Like during my chest workouts or my push workouts, I would never feel my chest contract. I would never actually get a pump or feel my chest doing the work, you know, on these movements. And I tried lots of different things that actually, you know, just didn't work out for me and just didn't work in general. Until a couple of years ago, I found some techniques that really worked for me in order to feel my chest and, you know, to make some sick chest gains, because in the past like 2 or 3 years I've been really hammering on my chest development, and it's safe to say that it's not like really lagging anymore, luckily. So now, to better understand how to train the chest most optimally, let's discuss the anatomy of the chest very briefly. Now, the chest is divided into two muscles, the pectoralis major and the pectoralis minor. Now, to correctly train the chest, you have to utilize its function, which is bringing the humerus, or the bone of your upper arm, across the body. Now, the chest flexes, adducts and medially rotates the arm. Now, by taking the flat bench press, for example, you are utilizing the function horizontal adduction. Now, horizontal adduction is very similar to regular adduction, but instead you are moving your arms in a horizontal plane rather than a vertical one. Now, by utilizing these functions, you will be using the correct movement pattern in order to correctly stimulate the chest. Now, I have a full guide to building a bigger chest on my channel, which I will link on the screen, and I will put the link in the description so you can get more information on building a bigger chest in general. Since this video will mostly cover tips on how to apply the tips that I give in, you know, the full guide better and more optimally. Alright, tip number 1 is get a stronger bench press. Now, for those of you who didn't know already, the bench press is like the king of all chest exercises. It's a compound movement in which you can fully focus on progressive overloading on your chest. But despite it being one of the best exercises for your chest, it gets performed incorrectly a lot. People use the wrong rep ranges, they use the wrong form. So what I highly advise you guys to do, and what I did personally, you know, in order to make progress on the bench press, is start using a program. You know, what I did like 3 years ago is I started on a 5x5 program, meaning I would use the same weight, and at that point I think it was like 80 kg, I'll put the pounds on the screen. I used 80 kg for 5 reps, you know, that was what I was able to do at that particular moment. So what I did was, I did 5 sets of 5 reps with that given weight. And if that training went well and, you know, the bench felt pretty easy, if I had at least like 1 rep left in the tank, I would add 1.25 kilograms on each side of the bar and then try to hit that for 5x5 again. So that's 82.5 kilograms. And that's basically like progressive overload in a nutshell. And that's a mistake that a lot of people make as well. When they want to jump up in weight, they add 5 kgs per side on the bar, you know, in the same training. And what ends up happening is they can only hit it for a few reps and they think, you know, oh, I can make progress. But that's not the way to go. You might think that those 1.25 kilogram plates are like way too small steps, but if you create 1,000 small steps at a time, you will still end up here instead of end up here, because you want to jump in weight way too fast. So jump on the programming and make small steps, which will end up in a huge step. Right, the second tip that I want to give you guys is focus on contracting your chest. Now, I remember like looking in the mirror when doing an incline dumbbell press and so forth, and never seeing my chest like actually contract in the mirror. I would do like, you know, the incline presses, and I would never see a contraction of my chest. And until that like popped up in my mind, I would never really like focus on that until I lowered the weight. And when I was looking in the mirror, I would focus on seeing my chest muscle pop out, like sticking my chest up. And if I would see it like pop out in the mirror, that would mean that I was contracting my chest, which is the ultimate goal if you're training your chest. Contraction and stretch. So that's like kind of my mirror tip on an incline dumbbell press. But there are also a lot of things regarding your form that will help you contract your chest in the first place. So some tips I have for your form are: retract your scapula, meaning you will squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then put your shoulders down, which means the depression of your shoulders. Retraction and depression of the scapula. Now, that is something you have to do before you lay down on the bench. So focus on putting your shoulder blades back and then putting them down and then lay on the bench. Now, what you just saw there is that you will actually automatically stick your chest up when you're doing that. also do is put your shoulders in a safe position. A lot of people don't do this, they don't retract their scapula, and what ends up happening is when they're pressing, they will push their shoulders forward, meaning you're not contracting your chest, you're actually putting all the stress on your front delts, which will actually have a big chance in you getting some shoulder problems or some shoulder injuries in the long run. Focus on squeezing your glutes when you lay on the bench. Now the reason for this is when you squeeze your glutes, you will actually stay in a tight position. Remember guys, the bench press is a compound movement, so if you don't squeeze your glutes when you're doing the bench press, you will not stay in a tight position, and that can lead into some injuries because you're using multiple muscles at a time, and with a heavy load you want to stay tight. Brace your core, squeeze your glutes, retract the scapula, depress it, and stay safe. Keeping your feet on the ground. You want to drive your force out of your feet through a little bit of leg drive, together with squeezing the glutes and retracting and depressing the scapula. Keeping your feet on the ground will get you in a way tighter and way safer position in order to optimally press all the weight up. Now a big reason that people keep their feet on the bench or in the air or whatever is that they have the misconception that you have to have your back like flat on the bench, when in reality you have to stick your chest up in order to use your chest muscle during the bench press, and you will automatically have a natural arch in your lower back. Now that is completely fine, it's completely safe, you will not injure your lower back or anything. It's just a natural arch which comes from the retraction and depression of the scapula. Like, I don't know if you can see it here, but like retraction, depression, and I will have a natural arch in my back. And that is something you have to focus on if you want to stick your chest up and contract and stretch it. Right, the third tip is train your chest more frequently. Now I was a victim of the bro split, unfortunately. Training your chest once a week is just not going to cut it if you want to have a bigger chest or fix your lagging chest. So what I did was, instead of a bro split, I jumped on a push, pull, legs and push routine. My routine back in the day was push, pull, legs, push, off, repeat. So that would mean that I would train my chest 3 times per 6 days. That's basically just 3 times a week. And why this is better than training your chest to complete failure like 1 time a week is because us natties have to do with protein synthesis. Now protein synthesis is basically like the process of your muscles recovering and growing upon the point that you have broken them down to. So basically the recovery process of your muscles and the growing process. Now for us natties, the process of protein synthesis lasts most likely up to 48 hours or 72 hours. So basically, simply said, after 2 days you can train that muscle again. To put it in simple basics, after around 2 days you can train the same muscle again. So say for example you trained your chest on Monday, or you did a push day or an upper day on Monday, you can basically do it again on Wednesday. Now by doing that you can constantly provide your chest with enough nutrients to grow. But by training more frequently, and here comes tip number 4, don't overdo your chest training. Now it's a really common thing to do if you want to like fix a lagging chest or get a bigger chest in general, to do every exercise in the freaking book. Now let me tell you guys, that won't work out. Now, like I said, what you have to do in order to get a bigger chest in general is to focus on making progress. Progressive overload is the key to muscle gain. Whether you do that in adding weight to the bar, adding a few extra reps here and there, as long as you don't dip above like 15 reps, or increasing the amount of tension, time under tension. That's completely fine, but doing every exercise in the book in one training just won't cut it. By doing way too many exercises, it'll only make it harder for you to make progress in the first place. Because by doing all these different exercises in every way, shape possible, you will most likely train to failure. And if you're a natty, training to failure isn't going to have any advantage for you whatsoever. So what I highly advise you to do is stick to the basics. Do a flat barbell bench press or an incline bench and focus on making progress on that movement. Do an incline press or a flat dumbbell press and do a chest fly. That's basically all you need. I had a lagging chest and I did those 3 exercises on every push or upper day that I did, and I have made sick gains in my chest. Alright, so those are 4 of my biggest tips in order to fix a lagging chest or to grow a chest in general. Now if these tips were helpful for you, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you have a different tip that really worked out for you as well, please let me know in the comments down below as well. And that is it for the video guys, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to smash that like button, because it really helps out the channel grow. Comment down below, subscribe to the channel for so much more content coming really soon. I'm out guys, and peace out, see you in the next one.